Hi guys, Jordan from P&P Campers. Just going to do your handover video on your Rollerteam. It's a 694 and it's based on the 2018 Fiat Ducato. So under the bonnet we've got most of the sort of fluid reservoirs and things are over here on the left hand side, underneath this little cap which I've taken off just so I can show you what you would see once you've taken it off. But you can always get to the washer fluid over here on the left hand side. That's nice and easy. You've then got underneath this cap, we've got your power steering fluid, which is this reservoir here. Engine coolant, which you top up from here, but that's this reservoir attached to that underneath. You can also, so it's only really those two that you have to take the cover off for. You can get to your brake fluid, which is attached to the servo there all the time as well. So that's just literally a case of having a look at the scale there. The engine oil goes in just here. If I just take the cap off, see no sort of horrible white mess in there, which is good. There's no water in the engine. And your engine oil dipstick is the red topped one just next door to that. You've got a couple of stickers in here. So 249 here, that is the white colour of the van. So 249, Fiat 249 is a classic Fiat white colour, but they do also, the majority of the vans, the motorhomes, have also got 249 throughout. So if you wanted a paint touch up for anything on the back end as well as the front in the cab, is Fiat 249 is the one that you want to go for. Your chassis plate just here, and what else have we got? So the air filter sits inside this box just down here. The engine battery in these particular chassis sits under the floor in the cab, just in front of the passenger seat. So if you wanted to jump start the van, you've got a positive terminal just underneath this little thing here. And it does say that you just have to squeeze those bits together to open that up. And a negative terminal just up here, just underneath this little sticker that says only for jump start. So positive over there, negative just up here. It's been the same on these chassis for a long time. This one is also the automatic, so you have also got one other, if I just get the camera in there, one more little reservoir down there, which is for your transmission fluid. So you shouldn't have to do anything with that, but that is where that is, just in case you were wondering what that was down there. So just inside the passenger door, got your bonnet release handle just in there, so releasing the bonnet from inside the passenger door, meaning that you have to actually have the key to open up the passenger door to allow the bonnet to open, which is always a good thing. Then got just down here another chassis plate here. So the one under the bonnet, in all honesty, you can ignore that one, because this one here is the one you need to go off, because it's the uprated version. So you're 3.5 tons, so you can drive on any car license, and this is the more up-to-date version. All right, you've then got your PSIs for the tires, and don't be scared off by these numbers. That is correct. It might seem a little bit crazy, but that is honestly just how the motorhome tires are pumped up. Diesel filling point, it's just inside there. You will need your ignition key to open that up. Right, we'll get to the inside in just a minute. I'll go through the whole inside with you after I've gone around the outside. So you've got these two big vents here next to the habitation door. These are both to do with your fridge. You've got a little cap underneath here, so if you pull that to one side and the same for the other side, this will then come out and give you access to the back of the fridge. I've got the fridge lit up on gas at the moment, so you would, if I could get the camera in there properly, you should be able to see a little flame. There is a little peephole here that you can push out the way, but I won't do that just because you don't really need to see it right now. But it is lit up on the gas at the moment. I'll just put this back. So that's your vents for the fridge. You shouldn't ever really need to get into there for any reason, but if you ever do, that's where that is. We've then got the boiler vent. So this one just here is your boiler vent. This is a Truma combi boiler. You have got the iNet ready controller, which I will run you through as well when we go inside, but this is the vent for your boiler, as I said. We've then got absolutely tons of storage underneath the fixed bed, and we've got the extra bits and pieces that you've asked for in here as well. So you've got your fill up point, your wheel clamp and the chocks. You then also got your center steady bar for the awning, which is this one here, and the actual awning winder here as well. Underneath here we've got your waste drain off point. So this little handle just here, you quite literally just turn that handle and your wastewater will come out from just there. So that's when you have to sort of make sure that you're draining it out in the right place on a campsite or whatever, or if you've got a roll away to put underneath it. At the back we've got the 4-bike rack with all of the corresponding bars for the top. Reversing camera up there does work quite nicely. I've just used it to bring it out here. There you go, that's all there is really at the back. I have also fitted your fresh up kit for the toilet. So this is a new cassette and new toilet seat and top inside. So to take the actual cassette out, it's really simple. You've got a little blue tab down here. So lift the blue tab up and then you can pull the whole cassette out. All right, it really is as easy as that. All you then need to know is that you empty the cassette out from here. And as you're emptying, you should be holding down the little blue button there at the back just to release a little bit of pressure. When you finish doing that, you quite literally just push this all the way in until it clips over just like that. That's it. There's your toilet cassette. Next thing we come to is the hookup point. So if you do have access to a hookup cable, it is really, really helpful. It does mean that your leisure battery will be fully charged all the time, although this vehicle has got a solar panel on the roof which is working really nicely. But as I said, it just means that you're completely charged up all the time. It also means you've got access to any 240 volt plug sockets, so your 3-point sockets, and also means that your fridge and your boiler can work on mains or gas at any one time. So it just gives you a little bit more, flexibility on what you can use. But as I say, you've got a really nice, well-working solar panel on the roof anyway, so the leisure battery is pretty well charged up. I mean, it's 30 degrees out today and very, very sunny, so that will be helping. But there you go. So you've got a refillable gas bottle in the gas locker here, which has got the correct sticker on the actual locker door. You've also got, I will say, I've just taken these bits out. You shouldn't really keep things in this locker apart from gas bottles. You shouldn't, because you've got these little dropout holes here, that's what these are. So if there was a gas leak in the locker, the gas can escape out these dropout holes. So if you cover those up, the gas might not have anywhere to escape from. So it's always really important to leave that completely empty apart from bottles. There you go. So all you've got to know really about these gas refillable ones anyway, is that you've got your auto gas refillable point just in here. So you literally go to your sort of petrol station that's got the LPG, and it's just literally a bayonet fitting to go onto there to fill it up, and then you just pop this back in, put it back in properly in a minute. But yeah, so that's nice and easy to fill up, and you've also then just got your on and off here at the back. So anti-clockwise round to the right turns it off. So round to the right. It's a little bit difficult to show you because we're kind of like back to front with the bottle. But basically, if you tighten it up round to the right, so clockwise, sorry, tighten it up round to the right clockwise, that will turn the bottle off, and anti-clockwise round to the left will turn the bottle on. But obviously it's a little bit awkward to show you on camera and the bottle up, back to front. Yeah, if you can get the grips with that, turning it clockwise round to the right turns it off. That's it. You should always turn the bottles off before you start driving. And obviously just, when you park up and want to get going again, just turn the bottle back on again, and then you'll have access to any of your gas appliances inside. So, last sort of locker or bit on the outside really is this freshwater point. So if you want to fill up your fresh water, literally got this here. It is locked at the moment, but just put your key in there, basically turn it once, and then it will come out nice and easily. But there you go, there's your freshwater filling point, all nicely sort of neatly sort of put away like that. So I'm just going to show you around the cab now, because there is a nice high spec in the cab. So as I said, you've got the reversing camera on the back of the van, which is working really nicely. That literally just comes on when you put it in reverse, and is a nice clear camera. And the automatic is another thing which is a real nice bonus to have. These really aren't very common to be in the automatic chassis. You know, it's becoming more and more difficult to find automatic motorhomes nowadays. So the automatic gearbox on these, really simple to use, apart from, you know, if you haven't done it before, you might not quite, you know how to do it just yet. But so if I just show you, so if we go up to the top right hand side, we're in neutral. So that's where we are right now. And then all you need to do to get it to go into drive is lift it or pull it down to the middle and let go. So we'll then just drop over to the left. Once you've done that, it will come up with either 1 on its own on the dash, which means that you're in manual mode in first gear, or it might come up with 1 auto, which means that you're in first gear, but you're in automatic mode. So if it just comes up with a 1, all you have to do to get it to go into automatic mode is push it once over to the left like that, and it will switch over to automatic. Same goes for if you want to switch it over to manual mode. If you're in automatic and you want to switch it over to manual, press it over again, and then you can literally go down the gears, up the gears, just by doing that, up and down. All right. To get it to go into reverse, we go back over to the right and then down, and that will then drop it down into reverse, and it will come up on the dash there saying R for reverse. Back up to the top right is neutral, and your handbrake is down here over on the right hand side. You then got the cruise control dials just in here, really simple to use, those ones. Air conditioning from this little center switch just here, and obviously all of the heater controls there underneath that. Hazard lights from there, and a couple of 12 volt and USB sockets just there. You have then got the ASR switch, which is all to do with your sort of traction control. Electric adjusting mirrors from this little bit over here. And of course all of your steering wheel controls. So you've got mute, volume, you can answer and decline phone calls if you set your phone up to it properly. It's got the lot really. It's not much that it hasn't got, to be completely honest. Okay, so yeah, I think that's about it really. Right, so I'm just going to jump out and close out of the door, and I will show you round into the inside. Right, so straight away I noticed when I first come in here, it's got really nice little LED blue lights around the bottom of the van, going all the way around the bed. So at night, I mean, it doesn't really do it much justice right now because it's, you know, middle of the day, but at night that's going to look really nice. The nice bright LEDs. Most of the lights, if not all of the lights in the van actually are all LEDs as well. You got really nice sort of background lighting above and behind, you know, a lot of the little sort of cabinets and seats and things like that. So it's a really nice modern looking van. Even over the top here, let's see, you got the, you know, it's going to do it more justice, you know, when it's dark outside, but you can see where we're going with that. So right, so as soon as you come in the habitation door, you've got the Rollerteam branded control panel. So this is one of the easiest control panels I've ever used. So it's all touch screen, so all you have to do, so you've basically got on and off switch just here. Once you turn that on switch, you basically just get access to your 12 volt power. So the on and off switch just there essentially just, you know, allows the leisure battery to start sending power to everything. The other switches on the right hand side are all just gauges. So B1, so that's battery 1, and that relates to the engine battery. So that's telling us the voltage in the engine battery, 12.6, so that's absolutely fine. Leisure battery, 12.6 as well. And our freshwater level, 33% in the tank. So if I'm remembering rightly, I think that will only go, it will go 0%, 33, 66 and 100. I might be wrong, don't hold me to that, but I'm pretty certain that's how they go. So it won't literally show you each percent, 1 to 100, but it will give you a pretty good idea of how much water you got in your fresh tank. Once you've seen that you've got water in the fresh tank, you can then put your water pump on, which is the switch over on the top left hand side. And the first thing you want to do is, once you've done that, is just come over here to the sink and pull the water through on the cold and the hot side. So the cold is the right hand side, and we'll just lift the tap up. You can hear the pump kick in straight away, which is a really good sign. So we've got no air coming out on the hot on the cold side, so I'm happy with that. Go over to the hot, a little bit of air coming through, but not very much. And it's smooth again, so I'll now turn that off and make sure the pump turns itself off. There you go. So that is, absolutely perfect. So what that tells me, showing that there's no air in the system on the hot or the cold side, and also proving to, that the pump turns itself off, without you having to do anything, means that you're completely pressurized, there's no leaks. And if there was a leak, the only thing that would happen is that the pump, you'd hear it coming on, off, on, off, on, off. And the reason that it does that is that these pumps work on pressure. So as soon as there's any kind of leak in the system, the pressure reduces and the pump has to get itself back up to pressure by turning on and off. So just by doing that, I now know a couple of things. I know that there's no air in the system, I know there's no leaks, and I also know that the boiler is full of water and ready to use. If the boiler wasn't full of water, we would not get water coming through on the hot side of the tap. Okay, so that's the only way to absolutely prove to yourself that the boiler's full. And it's really important that you do that, because if you don't check that the boiler's full, and if, for example, the boiler was completely empty and you tried to light it up to get hot water, it's going to overheat, because you're essentially just trying to heat up nothing. Okay, so that's really important. Just literally takes 5 seconds. Just pull the hot water, pull the cold side, pull the hot side, make sure there's water in it, turn it off. That's it. But once you've done that, you can then just completely forget about it and know for a fact that everything's pressurized and everything's good. You've then got 3 more buttons. So the one at the bottom here is just literally an internal temperature button, and you can see there, pretty hot in here, so I'm not going to be putting the heating on. You've then got a lights on and off switch. So if I turn that off, all of the lights around the vehicle have now gone off. Okay, now all the lights of course have got their own switches as well, but what quite a lot of people would do is work out what lights they like, which ones they want on and off, and then you can just basically leave them on, leave all the switches on, and just use the main lights on and off switch. If you want to do that, it's completely up to you. And the last button here is your awning light. So that's the light which is literally just up here above your head, if you can see it. And so that's if you've got the awning out and you're sat outside, you might want a bit of light coming down. That's what that button there does. Okay, so that's the control panel. As I said, it's so simple, and you will get the hang of it within absolutely no time at all. Just make sure there's nothing. Okay, so we've got up here in this cupboard, we've got the TV aerial booster. So that essentially is, you've got a TV aerial on the roof, and by turning this little switch on, there's a little switch on the top left hand side of it, by turning that on and getting the little blue light that's on it now, that is boosting the signal enough to give you signal at your TV. So that is honestly all you have to do. Turn the switch on up there, and then you can use the telly and you'll have channels. The slightly older TV aerials, you did have to tilt and turn, they were called, but your one, wherever it might be, will be pretty nearby. I can't quite see it on the camera, but it's I don't think it's one of the tilt and turn ones. I think it's just one of the ones that you just literally just leave it on its own, and it will find the signal. So right, I will get onto the boiler controller in just a minute, but I'll just show you a few other bits first. So in this big locker above the fridge, you have got the solar controller. So the solar controller, you haven't got to do anything with that whatsoever. You haven't got to, you know, press any buttons on it to turn it on or anything at all. That is literally just 2 wires coming down from the solar panel, 2 wires going off to the battery, which is the leisure battery, and that's it. You just leave it alone, and anytime you're in, you know, you've got the sunlight on the roof, the battery will be having a little bit of charge put to it. So that is super simple. You don't have to do anything with that. I just thought I'd point that out. That's where it is. The fridge, as I said, it's a 3-way fridge, which I don't know if I did say that, but it's a 3-way fridge. It's a Thetford, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty sure it is. And you've got the model number for it is there, I believe, so N3150. So the Thetford fridges are really, really simple to use. So if I just, okay, and also it's one of the automatic ones. So, right. So the way that you use these fridges is you can either cool it down via the gas, the 240 volt electric, so you hook up, or the engine when you're driving, so your 12 volt. So the only 2 ways it will actually get the fridge cold by itself is the gas or the 240 volt electric. So for example, if you're going to go on holiday tomorrow morning, I might recommend that you either light the fridge up on gas, or if you're hooked up on the mains, you can use it on the mains. And then when you get to, you know, getting into the van next morning to go, all you have to do is switch over to 12 volt. So if I just show you how to do that. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it all the way off so you can see from the beginning. So when I first turn the fridge on, it comes up with all the lights just showing that they're all working. It will then automatically select one of the 3 energies. Okay, so it's already, I mean, I haven't even touched any other buttons, but already it's lit up on gas. And I know that because the little gas flame symbol there is on and it's not showing me up any fault codes. Okay, if I didn't want to use it on the gas and I wanted to use it on something else, I would press this button here until I get to the correct energy that I actually want to be on. So if I want to be on the mains, I would be selecting this one here. And it's flashing at us, showing us error 10 because there's no hookup plugged in. If I wanted to use it on the 12 volt when the engine's running, I would select the little battery symbol here. Or if I wanted gas, I would select the gas symbol just there. So that is all you have to do. If you want to use gas, just select gas and it will light up. If you're hooked up on the mains, just select mains and it will start working. And if you've already pre-cooled it and you want to start driving off, select the 12 volt, the battery one, and it will just start working. All right. So the other way you can do it, it's not really something that I recommend because every now and again they will get it a bit wrong. The fridge, I mean. But you have also got on this particular one the A function, which is the automatic energy selecting. So if you look this fridge up online, it will say AES next to it, automatic energy selector. And so if you leave it on A, it will select the energy for you, and 9 times out of 10 it'll be correct. So at the moment it has chosen gas, so that is correct. But sometimes, you know, if you've hooked up on the mains or whatever, it might not select mains for you, or if you know, just all that sort of stuff. So if you realize that it's not quite working properly, just select your energy manually, and that's it. That's how you use the fridge. You have got a temperature gauge over here on the right, so if you don't think the temperature is quite right for you, you can go through and change it. And you've also got a sort of ventilation at the back there as well. Okay, so that's the fridge. I'm going to leave that on gas for a little bit just to make sure it's all getting cold and nice. But that's the fridge. Okay, so the Truma boiler. So this is your heating and hot water. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to press and hold on this to turn it off, or at least, well, actually I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to turn this off for now and I'll run you through it from the beginning. So when you first turn this iNet Ready system on, what you'll get is the screen that we're looking at right now. Okay, so all you've got basically is heating, so you've got a little temperature gauge in the van, so that's heating, hot water, energy, and fan speed. Okay, so if I, on a day like today where it's 27 degrees in here, I absolutely do not want heating, but I will press on this and just show you that you've basically got a temperature dial down to 5 and then off. Okay, so that is all you have to do. If you want to get the heat to come on, you just literally scroll this around and around until you get to your temperature that you want. This little thermostat here will then pick up on the temperature and heat the van up until it gets to the temperature that you've chosen. It really is as simple as that, exactly just like a thermostat at home. Okay, the next one, the water heating, we've got eco, hot, or boost. So I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory in my opinion, but if you're not in much of a hurry for hot water, put it on eco. If you want, you know, just normal setting, hot, put it on there. And if you're in a real rush for it, put it on boost. So that's your hot water. Next one over is your energy selector. So at the moment, I don't have the mains cable plugged in, but I do have the gas switched on. So at the moment, I have to leave it on gas. If I had it hooked up on the mains, I could use a mixture of gas and electric, or a mixture of gas and electric, a bit more electric basically. If I didn't have any gas but I did have the electric plugged in, I could choose electric 1 or electric 2. But at the moment, as I said, we have to leave it on gas. And the last one is the fan. So you just basically select 1 to 10 for your fan speed, and that's it. If you haven't got the heating on, it won't allow you to actually use the fan for the heater. It will just allow you to use it as a vent, which is why it came up saying vent just then. So once you've got the heating on, it will start blowing warm air through these little circular vents around the van. There you go. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is turn that off. And there. What did I do? Off. Okay, so I'm going to turn the water heater off as well. There you go. And so there you go, that is completely off now. As long as the heating and the hot water is all off, you can then just turn that off. You can also turn the screen completely off by pressing and holding on the middle button, but you don't really need to do that. It's not going to drain the battery out or anything like that. So that is the boiler and the control panel and the fridge. So you've got the 3-burner hob over here. So you haven't got an ignition on the actual burners themselves. So you will need a lighter or an igniter of some description to light any of these up. So underneath that we've got the oven / grill, and I say oven / grill because that's sort of what they're called online. So if you want to light the grill up, you push in and round to the right whilst you press the igniter switch down. If you want to light the oven up, you push in and round to the left whilst pressing this down, and it will light the oven up. So the grill lights up from the top just there. So if I just show you that. So that's how the grill lights up. So you have to make sure that both sides actually light, otherwise it will not stay on. And the oven is the bit at the bottom. So if I just budge that out of the way a little bit. There you go. So they're pretty close together, but obviously they do very different things. So just be sure to be careful with that. You have got, for if you're using the grill, you've got this little bit that pulls out a little bit just to save the worktop above it from getting too hot. Quite an important locker down here. So you've got your gas isolator taps just here. So if I just run you through which ones do which. So this is your boiler, fridge, oven / grill, and your 3-burner hob. So if you wanted to isolate the gas from any of those appliances, you just turn them 90 degrees so they're sort of laying flat, if you like. And that's it. You just isolate them like that. And you've got your 240-volt trip switches. So if you realise that an appliance wasn't working on the mains, have a little look in here and make sure these are all in the upright position. But that really is about it. Of course, you've got your drop down table here and your two proper forward facing seat belts. The bed will lift up nice and easily to allow you access to the boiler, which is just down here. And okay, so just down here next door to the boiler, you can just about see there's a little red a little blue dial there. So that there is your actual boiler drain off point. So if you wanted to drain the water out of the boiler for some reason, all you need to do is just turn that dial at the top, and it will basically just push out a little blue button at the bottom. Once that little blue button's popped out, all the water inside the boiler will drain out onto the floor, and that'll then be empty. If for some reason, which will be that basically that what they call that is an automatic drain off valve, and so if the temperature outside gets to sort of roughly 5 degrees or so, or in fact actually it's the temperature at that thermostat above the door, if that gets down to about 5 degrees or so, the automatic dropout valve there will drop any water out of the boiler onto the floor. And the reason it does that is that if the water inside this boiler, which is about 10 litres or so, if that water freezes up, it will expand and crack any of these little pipes and fittings and all that sort of stuff all over the place. So it will just basically try and save your boiler for you. But that's where that is, just in case you ever needed to know where the boiler is. To be completely honest, nowadays the vans are so well insulated that I would be quite surprised, unless you were leaving it in storage or something, for a really long time. I would be surprised if that actually does drop out, but there you go. That's just in case you ever need to put it back up. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to show you is the bathroom. So, as I said, you've got your new, this is a new lid and seat, so that's part of the Fresh Up kit. A little bit of storage just underneath there. I don't really tend to run through much in the bathrooms because it's literally just a hot and cold tap here. Same for the shower, actually, it's just literally a hot and cold mixer tap. But the only thing I will show you is the toilet, how to use the actual toilet. So what you've essentially got is a button here for putting your flush fluid around. So if I just turn the seat a little bit so you can see, push the button. Now I will mention that you will have to have some water in the freshwater tank and the pump switched on if you want to flush this toilet. And that's because you've got a freshwater flush, which means you don't have to fill up any separate flush fluids or anything like that. Which also means that sometimes it's worthwhile having a little spray bottle of the pink fluid to spray around the bowl here. Once you've got the water into there, or you've gone to the toilet, whichever, you can then empty it into the cassette by pushing this that way. That's then opened that flap there, and then you can put it back. And that is it. So I'm pretty sure I've shown you everything I can. If there's anything you think I've missed out or anything you'd like going over again, just let us know. Otherwise, we look forward to seeing you soon to collect your van. Thanks very much.